She was just a girl in a forgotten corner of the world, no riches, no connections, just a pair of gifted hands and a dream no one believed in. They laughed at her. They called her stubborn. Even her own mother said, "Styling hair won't feed you." But Amina knew her destiny was bigger than the mud walls that held her in. What she didn't know was how many storms she would face before her light could shine. This is not just a story, it's a battle cry for every dreamer who's ever been told to sit down and stay silent. Watch closely, because this girl from nothing is about to become everything. Amina sat in the corner of the small room, the early morning sunlight creeping through the cracks in the mud walls. Her hands moved quickly, expertly braiding the hair of her neighbor, Mama Ngozi, who sat patiently in front of her. The soft rhythm of Amina's fingers weaving through the strands of hair was a sound that comforted her, a sound that made her feel alive. "Ah, Amina, you have a gift. Your hands work magic," Mama Ngozi said, admiring the intricate braids. Amina smiled shyly, her heart swelling with pride. She loved the compliments, but she knew her talent meant nothing to the people who mattered most, her family. Her mother, Mama Amina, and her younger sister, Fatima, always dismissed her dreams of becoming a famous stylist. They didn't understand why she spent so much time on something they considered unimportant. To them, Amina was just a girl with a fancy hobby, a hobby that had no future. "Just make sure you finish your chores, Amina," her mother often reminded her. "Styling hair won't feed you when you're older." But Amina knew she had something special. It was a gift, one she could feel deep in her bones, even if others didn't see it. She didn't mind working in silence, away from the world's eyes. It gave her time to practice, to perfect her craft. Her brother, Jibril, was different. He always encouraged her. He would watch her work, his eyes full of admiration. "One day, everyone will see how great you are, Amina," he would say with a smile, even though he wasn't sure how to help her. "You just wait." But Amina waited for years, working in secret. At the local salon where she worked, she was praised by customers for her creativity, but her employer, Madame Grace, never acknowledged her talent. Madame Grace was the owner of the most popular salon in the town, and she wasn't about to let a young, ambitious girl like Amina threaten her business. Every time Amina received praise, Madame Grace would brush it off or claim the credit. Amina had a small dream that she kept to herself. One day, she would own a salon of her own. It seemed impossible, given her family's disapproval, but Amina held on to that dream tightly. It was her secret escape, her quiet hope. But life had a way of throwing unexpected challenges her way. It was a bright Saturday morning when Amina realized her time at the salon was coming to an end. She had just finished styling the hair of a well-known local politician's wife, a client who specifically asked for Amina's work. As she wiped the sweat from her brow, Madame Grace stormed over, her face flushed with anger. "You think you're special, don't you?" Madame Grace snapped. "Stealing my clients, making them come to you instead of me." Amina's heart sank. She had never meant to take anyone's clients. She had simply done her job with care, as she always had. "I didn't steal anyone, Madame Grace," Amina replied softly. "I was just doing what I was asked." "That's enough." Madame Grace interrupted. "You're out. You're a threat to my business, Amina. You're no longer welcome here." Amina stood frozen for a moment. She had expected this, but hearing it out loud still stung. The women in the salon whispered among themselves, some nodding in sympathy, others casting judgmental glances. "But I've been loyal," Amina said, her voice cracking. "I've worked hard here." Madame Grace shook her head. "Loyalty means nothing when it comes to business. You're talented, but you're dangerous to me. Now, leave before I call the police." With her heart heavy, Amina gathered her things and walked out of the salon for the last time. The door slammed shut behind her, and the sound echoed in her chest. Amina felt a deep sense of loss. She had been betrayed, discarded like she didn't matter. But in that moment, something inside her shifted. She would not let this be the end of her journey. She would not be broken. For weeks, Amina felt lost. She had no job, no steady income, and no salon to work in. Her family, especially her mother, didn't understand her frustration. They told her to get over it, find another job, and move on with her life. But Amina wasn't ready to give up. She knew she had a gift, one that couldn't be ignored. So, she took matters into her own hands. With the little money she had saved, she started offering home services, styling hair for clients in their homes. At first, it was difficult. She had to travel long distances to meet with clients, and sometimes, they didn't even appreciate her work. Some of them complained, embarrassed her in front of others, or refused to pay her the full amount. But Amina didn't let the negativity stop her. She worked harder, getting better with every client she met. Slowly but surely, people began to notice. Her name started to spread. And then, everything changed. Amina's hard work began to bear fruit. The clients who came to her home for hair styling kept recommending her to others. It wasn't long before Mama Chica, a prominent businesswoman in the area, called her to do her hair for a high-profile event. Mama Chica had heard about Amina's skills through word of mouth and was eager to experience them for herself. That day, as Amina worked on Mama Chica's hair, a tall and poised woman walked into the house. The woman's presence seemed to fill the room. She was elegantly dressed, her aura exuding confidence. Amina, who had been focused on her work, glanced up and froze. The woman smiled warmly. "I'm Ms. Ijeoma," she introduced herself, offering Amina a kind look. "I've heard so much about your work, Amina. I wanted to see it for myself." Amina, unsure of how to respond, simply smiled back. "Thank you, ma'am. I'm just doing my best." Ms. Ijeoma took a seat nearby, observing Amina's technique. Amina was nervous at first but soon forgot the woman was there as she focused on styling Mama Chica's hair. After a few moments, Ms. Ijeoma spoke again. "You have incredible talent, Amina," she said, her voice filled with admiration. "I've been watching you, and I believe you could do so much more than what you're doing now. You need to be seen. I want to help you." Amina's heart raced. Help her? No one had ever said anything like that to her before. Ms. Ijeoma continued, "I want to sponsor you. I will send you abroad to perfect your skills, and when you come back, I'll help you open a salon of your own. It's time the world knows your name." Amina stood there, stunned. This was her chance. Her dreams had always seemed so far out of reach, but now, they were suddenly within grasp. Ms. Ijeoma smiled again, her gaze soft but filled with certainty. "I'll treat you like the sister I never had, Amina. You have so much potential, and I want to see you succeed." Amina couldn't believe it. This was the moment her life had been waiting for. She agreed to take the offer, and Ms. Ijeoma exchanged her contact information with Amina. Over the following weeks, they stayed in touch, and Ms. Ijeoma provided the support Amina had only dreamed of. The days following her departure from the salon felt like a blur to Amina. She had nothing but the worn-out bag on her shoulder and a fading hope that one day, she would prove everyone wrong. No one in her family truly understood how deep her passion ran for hairstyling. They saw it as a hobby, a distraction, but for Amina, it was more than just making beautiful hairstyles, it was a way to express herself, a way to feel alive. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Why can't you just be practical like your sister?" Fatima had always been the good child, the one who listened to their mother's advice, followed the rules, and stayed on the expected path. But Amina wasn't like that. She had her own dreams, dreams that were far too big for the small village where she had been raised. Dreams that the people around her couldn't understand, but she refused to let go of. Amina spent her days doing what she did best, styling hair. She made a modest living by traveling from one home to the next, meeting new clients, and doing her best to make them happy. It wasn't glamorous, and at times, it was downright humiliating. Some clients complained about the price, haggling her down, while others made rude comments about her work. "You call this a haircut?" One customer sneered as Amina finished a trim on her hair. "I've seen better work in the streets." Amina felt the sting of those words, but she held her head high, never showing the hurt on her face. She had learned to take the criticism in stride, even when it bruised her spirit. It wasn't easy, and it certainly wasn't fair, but she had no choice. This was her path. She had to keep moving forward, no matter what anyone said. Amina had always been close to her faith, but as her talent began to shine, some people in her life grew envious. One person in particular was her Aunt Binta. Aunt Binta had never been fond of Amina, and as her niece began to gain attention for her skills, the jealousy began to show. "I knew it would happen," Aunt Binta muttered under her breath as she watched Amina from across the room during a family gathering. "She thinks she's too good for us now. I'll make sure she doesn't forget her place." At first, Amina didn't understand what her aunt meant. But when the strange occurrences started happening, it became clear. Amina began to feel uneasy, as if something was always watching her, always waiting for her to fail. She woke up at night, unable to breathe, a weight pressing down on her chest. Her clients began to cancel appointments at the last minute, or worse, they would gossip about her behind her back. Amina felt like something was standing in her way. Aunt Binta had begun performing spiritual attacks against her, sending negative energy that affected her success. She would secretly visit a local witch doctor, asking for ways to bring down her niece. "She's too arrogant. She's too proud," Aunt Binta would say. "She needs to be brought down to her level." It was during one of these dark times that Amina received a call from Ms. Igioma. Amina had met Ms. Igioma a few months earlier, and after watching her work, Ms. Igioma had become a mentor, offering Amina guidance and support. During their call, Ms. Igioma could sense something was wrong. "Are you okay, Amina?" she asked gently, sensing the tension in Amina's voice. "You sound different." Amina hesitated before answering, unsure if she should burden her mentor with her problems. But she needed help. I don't know what's happening to me, Ms. Igioma. It feels like I'm being attacked from all sides. My clients are canceling, my family isn't supportive, and I feel this weight on my chest every night." Ms. Igioma listened quietly, her voice full of understanding. "Amina, I know what you're going through. People who don't understand your greatness will try to bring you down. But you are stronger than you think. Keep your faith. I'm here for you." Ms. Igioma's words were a lifeline. Amina clung to them, refusing to let the darkness consume her. She turned to her faith, prayed harder than ever, and slowly, the weight began to lift. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight, but Amina started to feel stronger. The negative energy began to lose its hold on her. Weeks passed, and Amina continued to do her best, but the real change came when Ms. Igioma returned to Amina's life. She called her one afternoon, excitement in her voice. "Amina," Ms. Igioma said with a smile that Amina could hear even through the phone, "your time is now." Amina's heart skipped a beat. "What do you mean?" "I've seen your growth, Amina. I've been waiting for the right time. The world is ready for you. I'm ready to send you abroad for training. Everything you need is lined up. Your time has come to shine." Tears welled up in Amina's eyes. She couldn't believe it. Her dream of becoming a world-class hairstylist was finally happening. This was it, the moment she had been waiting for. "I'll take care of everything," Ms. Igioma continued. "Pack your bags, Amina. It's time to show the world your gift." Amina's life changed overnight. With Ms. Igioma's help, she traveled abroad to perfect her skills. Every day, she honed her craft, learning new techniques and gaining a deeper understanding of her profession. She trained under some of the best hairstylists in the world, and with each lesson, she became more confident. When Amina returned, she was greeted with the most incredible gift, a luxurious salon, fully equipped, located in the heart of the city. It was everything Amina had ever dreamed of, and more. Ms. Ijeoma had made her dream come true. As Amina's salon opened its doors, people came from all over, eager to experience her skill firsthand. Her fame spread quickly, and soon, she was working with high-profile clients, transforming lives one hairstyle at a time. But the journey wasn't without its challenges. Her family, especially Fatima, who had once mocked her dreams, began to notice her success. They couldn't deny it anymore. They wanted to make amends, but Amina struggled with the idea of forgiving them. The wounds from the past were still raw, and though they sought her forgiveness, Amina wasn't sure if she was ready to open her heart to them again. Months passed, and as Amina's salon grew, her family reached out, trying to rebuild their relationships with her. Fatima came to her one evening, looking humble and regretful. "Amina," she said, her voice trembling, "I've been a fool. I should have believed in you. I should have supported your dreams. Please forgive me." Amina looked at her sister, the one who had mocked her so many times, and felt a mix of anger and sorrow. How could she forgive someone who had hurt her so much? But as Amina thought about it, she realized that holding on to the bitterness was hurting her more than anyone else. Forgiveness wasn't just about repairing her relationship with Fatima, it was about freeing herself from the weight of the past. "I forgive you," Amina said softly. "But it's not just for you. It's for me. I need peace." As the years passed, Amina continued to build her empire. Her salon became the most prestigious in the city, and clients flocked to her from all corners of the world. But there was one thing missing: love. Then, one fateful day, Amina met Jide, a tall, handsome man who was everything she had ever dreamed of. He was kind, supportive, and completely enamored by her talent and drive. Their connection was instant, and soon, they were inseparable. Jide loved Amina not just for her beauty, but for the strength she had shown throughout her struggles. Amina had found everything she had ever wanted, a loving partner who understood her dreams and supported them fully. Together, they built a life full of love, success, and happiness. Amina's journey from rejection to success is a story of resilience, faith, and the power of never giving up on your dreams. Her story is proof that no matter where you start, with the right support, you can achieve greatness. If you've ever faced doubt or been underestimated, Amina's journey will inspire you to keep pushing forward. Glowing star, like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories of strength and success. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a story that could change your life. Sparkles. And if you've ever faced